God for part two. Bear with us. This is very interesting, and that is why we're taking our time, right? I'm sure you learn a lot from this. So now this part two, we're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about preparation, fueling, programs, and also this whole idea of gadgets, the strava, social media, how it affects us, and why we post and why sometimes we hide our posts. Shoes, we have the ultra guy here they have been toying with this idea of running barefoot, working on the healing that barefoot running does to you. And when I say barefoot, also I'll apply it to many other things, right? The whole idea of minimalistic way of doing sports, because now it's a bit, that's too commercialized. But those are the things we're going to talk about. Lakini sasa tukianza tuanze na hii sports science, the running science of it. So my first question will be to the freestyler, right? How does he prepare for a race, right? Or what is your normal day? How does your normal day look like? People want to know. How many miles do you put in a day? What time? Do you have a structure? Do you have speed runs here? Do you have hill runs when you're preparing for a race? Whether maybe this is before your retirement or now, I don't know, but just say, how does your normal running day look like? How many cents and 12 pictures? Maybe it's money, maybe I need money. Right?
No, my running, I think for the longest time has been more on the random kind of, side
So
of.
you're not targeting a week.
No.
I'm saying preparing for a race.
Preparing for a race, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I would say, okay, again, it's been random for the longest time. Eh? I think it's only in recent times that I felt like there's something more I should do, because it just used to be quite random. But you realize when you can do no more running randomly. Like if you it's mileage you want to put in, it's like our friend here was saying, currently is targeting 100 kilometers per week.
Yes.
That one, that's averagely what per day? Half a marathon per day. And those are just 5 days you're good on and all that. Yeah? So that one, that one can be easily achieved in terms, not easily in the easy way, but without really a proper, as long as of course you know your schedule. You know your schedule, whether it's the morning or in the afternoon, or in the evening, based on how your schedule looks like.
What's your schedule?
My schedule is I kind of, to a big extent, own my schedule based on what I do. I'm an accountant, but I do more of consulting work. Yes. So I kind of have control over my schedule. In that, that's why you'll see me sometimes run in the morning or run even at lunchtime. Sometimes I'm there just trying to balance some books, and I'm trying to reconcile things, and they're not really adding up well, and I just step out of the house and go for a run. Yeah, so, but I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I'm not saying this is just my experience, but of course, on a normal day, it would be, I prefer most of the time to run in the mornings.
In Inkalimeva,
yes.
Your way of running, does it make you faster in what you just said? Will it make you do your 250 PBs?
For that one, what I've come to realize, and this one I cannot, like I told you, my running up to a certain point has been a bit run, yeah. And that's why you see me throwing in the challenges, just to keep myself grounded in a way. But for the PBs and all that, you realize, and I think this is where the programs now come in. You realize you need a sort of a program to be in a program, and one which I applied, like I was mentioning that last year, like the second half of last year, kind of, my running was flowing in quite. Last year I had a very good, actually, quite a good year in, and
normal day like?
One thing I adopted for last year, what I can call the program that I was on was, and this one I kind of picked from a guy called Kama.
Yes.
It's more on mileage.
Yes.
You build up on mileage. It's what the science people call you run slow to run faster. But in the slow running, you're putting in more mileage. More mileage. Yeah, it was mileage focused, and in that mileage, there's also a bit of endurance.
Yes.
Because if you're doing like, I remember there's a time I don't know, I did some caras, I don't know how many, like 7 caras and all that. That was just one. It was not really very structured in a way, but the aim was you run more slow or more easy. Let me use the word easy. Easy running, but while building up on mileage, and it kind of helped me kind of do those the bit of the sub 3s I did towards the end of last year.
So how was your mileage doing a week, if you can remember?
No, I mean, it was that the days I could go like 140, averagely it would become to that.
So in a day, you do easy every day, or you do easy? So how was it?
How was it? It was like on Monday.
And remember, you're coaching Kamaya.
Yeah. I actually didn't follow because the Kama, actually we were with him on that. You remember I mentioned there was a run which we went to Philosopher. We were driving with him to and back. So he's a good coach. Kama is quite a good coach, and especially when it comes to this sub 3, doing this sub 3. So he gave quite an elaborate program to me. But I just picked a certain. He picked a few.
Yes. What you picked?
That's
number one. You picked the
mileage.
Slow running.
Easy running. Yeah, to run faster.
Number 2.
The mileage, to build up on mileage, and I really build up on mileage.
So you were just running easy runs every day. So there's no time you're doing speed work.
No, at that time I wasn't. I was doing much of speed works. Actually, it's very. I mean, this year I think it's when I've tried to. Because for the longest time, I think I was stuck on that place whereby you're just running arbitrarily, and it's happening somehow. It's happening, but I think I got to a point where I felt like there's something more that need to be because when you look at the left, you can see people on programs.
Yes.
Marathon
program.
I've never been in a program.
During your heydays, early days after Banswara, maybe 2016, no program.
No. Me, I ran my first marathon, I think, in 2018.
Yeah. So you haven't been in a pro, but you've been in a coaching scenario. You've been coached.
No, I've not been coached.
Okay. So you borrow things from that.
Yeah, it's more of just for me. For the longest time, it was more like just listening to the body, what it's saying. Then I was also this guy who was just trying to run fast.
So Inkalimeva, let's say 2 months have passed for you running. In those 2 months, do you look back and say, this week I ran 150, this week I ran 200, this week. So for you, you don't.
I'm not really big in the numbers thing. I'm more like I just run in the moment most of the time. But of late, I've heard that. Of course, there's a lot of people now. People are becoming more organized. There's more information out there. You see people doing things. People are training actually quite really structured and you are seeing results. It's not like a lot. Yeah.
Just saying up from you.
So I've been able to pick, like nowadays I'm able to do things like speed work, interval trains. I don't really have like I would lie to you that I have like a trajectory kind of. I can give you a graph that I've moved from year to year. It's not really structured for me.
Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Why did you do the speed training?
No, because I mean I know it. It's a formula. It's a formula that works. It works.
Because you want to run fast.
Yeah, because I want to run fast. Then the way I looked at it, I know it's a bit very street kind of thinking. I felt like I've exhausted my speed guns. Because
Yes.
it was happening. I was just able to run fast without really going
So
into
you needed
to
the speed
space.
to unlock some
Yeah,
speed.
yeah, yeah, to unlock. And also I've discovered if I'm to do this like now this sub 3 challenge,
You need,
there really has to be a structure somewhere which
Yeah.
which supports that.
and you've incorporated speed training.
I've incorporated speed
And how
training.
does the speed training look like?
There are two, because for me, this is what they call, actually, up to now, I'm not sure whether I know the difference between tempo run and, yeah, for a while I didn't know actually. I have to confess, I didn't know the difference between a tempo run and a speed run,
Yes.
and a speed, it's called a speed what?
play.
Speed
The
play.
partner.
Yeah. Actually, I thought it's the other way around.
Yes.
That a speed is the one which
Take off.
you take off, and for like you say, like one, you see how, I mean, for 1 hour you run like at a particular pace.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the other way around. That that's a tempo run.
Yes.
That's a tempo run. That you say like my race pace I'm looking for is let's say 350.
Yes.
I'm not 320 like Reuben. And I will lie to you.
Yes.
I try just to keep it, because there's something I'm trying to work on. It's a bit experimental on the sub threes that
Yes.
I can be able to run a sub 3
Yes.
without really much struggle. Yeah. And I think it's possible.
Then after the no much struggle, you'll find another hill to conquer. Because after a ladder, there's always another ladder. Once things become easy, you'll find something else that you want to do, and it's freestyle. It depends on how you feel like. So, but back on the speed,
Yes.
what do you do for speed?
So speed, I do those intervals, like, and this way the track thing actually works. Like like 400 meters the track.
Yes.
There are a couple of formats that you can. Like there's one whereby you can run 400 meters, you rest for 30 seconds.
Yes.
And you repeat that kind of looping for maybe, I mean, like 16 repeats. Those, I don't know, those would be like what, how many kilometers are those roughly?
Maybe below 10.
Yeah, below 10, something below 10. Because actually, I remember the last time I did one, I saw the mileage, it was too small to post on Strava. I found myself now adding my thing there. So I'm still trying to move myself from the old me to this, because I know there are people who do programs on a very religious kind of basis. I admire those people, and it's a good place to be.
People who are close to you, your friends or your peers, or even Coach Kama himself. I mean, from your story, to see whether they can ignite this program thing in UNC and experiment with it.
No, I've already talked to our coach.
And also, you say you're talking about mileage. After 7 kilometers, you're wondering, I need to add 4 in a proper speed training. And I'm not a coach.
Yes.
You're finished. So your 5 kilometers that you ran,
It should finish you.
It should finish you. You should not even thinking, only 5 kilometers. So that means you haven't switched on all your banners, right? So you need to switch on all your banners and have water somewhere there, and experiment with what it's called bonking at some point, and take yourself to that zone, right?
Yeah.
Once in a while, and not just these easy runs. You're enjoying the weather, you're enjoying the trees and stuff. Also, there's also some joy in wonking. There's also something that will come that you love very much, right? In tasting blood in your chest, or in exerting yourself in a particular, and maybe through that, right? If your easy or your particular pace, if your easy run is 450, right? Or your normal conversational talk. So you look at your watch one day and you're having a normal, it's not 450 anymore, it's 440. And you're like, how am I still having a heart rate of 130? And I'm doing, maybe because of the speed. But back to you, because sasa unajoin the freestyler, kufinya kidogo. Hill work. Do you do hill works when you train?
I do hill works.
That is it in a program way, or is it because of just one?
2,000 years later.
I'll edit this. Anyway, this has been good. Mtandao zikakatika. We don't even know where we left off. So our phones and cameras lost charge. But I know I was grilling our philosopher Inkalimeva about speedruns. So hapo ndo tuliachia. So I was asking him about speedruns and why he should incorporate speedruns in his running as a next level. Sometimes in these interviews, you have to also say your biasness. Now I have my biasness. As much as we've heard their stories, and as much as some, yes, I mean, what would you finya? Those 40 a day in a 7-day span, 40 kilometers, I don't know how many in 5 years or in 1 year. You wake up one day and you decide, this track, let me do a sub-3 in a track so that I'm also not common. There are so many people now who are becoming common in this sub-3, and now you do it in a way that separates you. So of course, finya, without a doubt. So, but on top of kufinya, like from where I'm sitting, there's still a lot of potential, right? Because you don't do programs. So I'll just challenge you to a bit. I mean, your programs are even there online free. To try and incorporate it maybe for a month or two and just see the discipline involved in a program. And if it's speed, it's speed. There's no additional. If it's hill work, it's hill work. And programs doesn't have to be a week. It can be after every 10 days. It's based on how you, because I believe in programs, there has to be a number of easy runs. You cannot have one. You cannot have easy run, hard run, easy run, hard run, easy run. For me personally, I don't see that very efficient. So there has to be more easy runs and hard runs, and fewer hard runs, more easy runs. As you said, slow, you run slower. That's my opinion. Mimi si coach. Right? So you can space it out. Instead of a 7-day program, you put a 10-day program. So after every 10 days, you renew it. Or after every 9 days. People like putting it a 5-day program, not even 7 days, Monday to Friday. So you have Monday, maybe your whatever, then Tuesday you have your speed, then Wednesday whatever, Thursday hill, then Friday, and you rest maybe one day, then on Saturday you do your long. Instead of doing, I'm getting out of context, but let me finish. Instead of doing your 5-day program, you have a 7-day with 2 rest days. So meaning 9-day program instead of 7. So meaning you have your Monday. So ikifika Wednesday uni reset. So Wednesday so inaenda Monday to Wednesday. Wednesday to Friday. Friday to back to Monday. You understand? Instead of Monday to Monday.
Yeah.
Right? And that way you have your more easy, because you like your easy runs. So you have more of your easy runs, but at least you have 1 or 2 things in your 7-day program. You have your speed and hill. Now back to you, because that's a challenge I'm giving you. If you do incorporate speed training, na ile speed nasema ile speed venye ujifinya to your speed, right? You seem like a guy who feels nice conquering, ultras or mountains or stuff. But you feel nice with the distance. Now you do a nice speed workout over just a 4 km or on interval, and you flip it. You can do 400, 600, 800, 1200, urudi chini tena. 12, 8, for example. You can do 400, 400, or you can do 800, 800, or you can do ziko mingi, right? And particular paces. Kuna paces zingine naonanga zikienda pyramid chini. Labda ni pace ya unaanza na negative alafu tena positive, negative, I don't know, ziko. So ukifanya hivyo Inkalimeva, then it may bring out something different for this season. Sometimes unaona umefanya kila kitu, and your plans, you also throw in that speed thing there. Now since I've said that, we were talking on hill
on the hills. Sasa nipe comments zako za your hills. You were saying something about your hill workouts. Ulikuwa unasema huko Ngong kuna milima mingi sana. So ziko.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what's your idea of a hill workout? I mean, why do people do hill work? What would you do? Tumeongea speed. So mbona ufanye hills? Hill reps. Why should you do hill reps? Or what does it help?
I think it's a bit more on endurance. You're building on your endurance that you know, in a run, like if you're doing a marathon and it's maybe in a race, you get to a point whereby you feel like you've exhausted much of your reserves.
Yeah.
So it's like it helps you build a reserve tank, whereby if you exhaust now the main tank, then you still have somewhere you can pull a few kicks.
So it gives you bigger lungs, you say, or bigger endurance.
Yeah, endurance.
Hill, what are they called? Hill reps.
Hill reps. Yeah.
Okay.
And also I think for the muscles, there's certain muscles on your body whereby the hills is kind of, it works on those muscles. So you can't just be used to like
normal terrain.
The normal terrain. You have to mix up.
And I'm not saying mixing up your runs, just doing a long run that has hills. I'm saying hill reps.
Yeah. Especially.
So in terms of hill reps, do you do hill reps? Now that you've said the benefits.
I have tried on a number of occasions. Maybe not consistently.
Once a month.
Yeah, not consistently. I've done.
If you do it once a month, how does it help?
It does not really help. It can't
so it doesn't help. So that's like if you say you do hill reps, like a hill rep in a month, it's like something else. Maybe it's not about your endurance. It's not about
Definitely.
You're just going to do a hill reps.
Yeah.
For the sake of doing, but not to enhance whatever it is you're enhancing. Sivyo?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So bonus ifanye occasionally.
I think it's a bit more on the discipline part. And
so discipline yako tumekubali.
Sticking to a program. Yeah. Sometimes there's also distractions. you have to go to the mountain. So you mess up the program. Yeah. So I think for the program, it will require a bit of discipline and
just reconfiguring your books. You like easy runs, you like going to the hills, maintain. Lakini tu ni kwangu kwako, because there's still something there. Right? There's still sometimes we want to see Inkalimeva doing us sisi kama mafans. So eka hiyo hill work yako ndani, eka hiyo ni waita nini? Ni interval ama ni fartlek?
Interval.
You can do in fartlek or the intervals.
For your speed. Right? No. And do your tempo. And this, as I said, tunafanya easy, hard, hapana, easy, hard, easy, hard. Right? And hapo una enjoy run yako kama when and again, your easy is not easy for other people. Easy yako ni monstrous, lakini unaipenda. Hiyo ni easy, long, enjoyable, sunset, tunakujuanga na sunset, sunrise. Pictures, lakini sasa ukifanya speed hakuna time ya kuchukua picha.
Even in a race.
I'm not saying a race. I'm just saying when you're doing your interval training, maybe in a track. Hizo track, nimesikia kuna track fulani huko Ngong yenye hewa iko. Kuna time unaweza shika simu uchukue ati it becomes minimal. So have that. Wacha tuone kwa mtandao umefanya speed. Eka naandike interval hapo strava tuone interval, tuone fartlek, right? We see tempo, na ukika tempo ya 5:10 tunajua si tempo. Sababu umetudanganya. To see a tempo, a proper nice tempo, right, for 21, and do that before stand shot. Do that for stand shot, then we see a good showdown in stand shot. Sivyo? Right? Stand shot si ile tuingie race kama ni race pia saa zingine, sivyo? Si kuingia tu participate, tunaingia race.
Yeah.
Right? Inkalimeva ameingia Stanchart race, right? And it's pressure when you do a race as a race, right? As opposed to a race as a time based. I mean, unaweza fanya time based, lakini pia unaifanya kirace. Ukifanya kirace ni pressure unajiwekea. And if you have a target of doing it as a race for Stanchart, of course, it's something you have to do now. To Stanchart, you'll have to do your hill repeats, you'll have to do your fat legs, you have to put it in your program. And do that and tell us. Then after you've done that, look for other challenges and other things, right? But sisi kama mafans tunataka kuona, unajua kuna hiyo list mwasema ati 250 to 3. Sasa kuna 230 to 240. Sasa kuna 220s, unajua. So nyinyi kama mabingwa hapa tunataka kuona maneno, tunataka kuona mambo, au sio? We want to see things. We want to see the normals, right? And the above normals. Sasa tunaita sub 3 normals.
Yeah,
right? We want to see some
It's
different
evolving,
category,
yeah.
right? He said 251 ni rahisi na alikasirika sana, right? So I hope you imeita mkutano. That is me to you. Hiyo iko sawa, we have a deal there.
No, that is home.
Yeah.
That is home and dry.
Good. So we want to see hill reps. I want to see interval training or speed training once in a while. Like you can do, one every other week, interchangeably. And there are coaches out there. You've mentioned them. There's Ongelesha, and we want to be better human beings. All right. So in the passions that we do, we also want to be better in terms of speed, better in terms of bit of focus. And I think we become happier when we're doing things, when we're better. Exact mwili fulani yetu, kuto exact ni uoga. Right? Sivyo? When you don't exact, there's some fear there of failure that you don't want to go there. Right? But when you exact, there's more joy that came when you finish Comrades. There's more joy that came when you did your sub 3, when you exacted. Right? It's painful, but there's so much joy. Right? So mwili zina potential, mbio zina potential, tujaribu and see what lies after that, after trying, and see what joy we get and face the fears. Right? We are fast, but we can be faster. Yep. Aya, you and your Sidney, tell us about programs. Are you in a program? Why a program? Have you ever been in a program? You're also very unorthodox in your training. Tell me a normal day of Sidney as he's preparing for a race. How does it look like?
I try not to eat much, but I would say bread,
Oh, not eating.
Yeah.
Training. Yeah.
Towards the race now.
Yes. Let's say you have a month before a race or 2 months. I mean, what's your normal day? How does your day look like?
I try to look at what I'm not really good at. So if I'm trying to look at an area, maybe I'm not good at hills, I try to sharpen on that side. If it was I'm not able to hold a certain pace for a certain duration, I try and experiment up to maybe 3/4 of the distance I should be running. And I think I like doing 10Ks sometimes on the track. So I can go, maybe at the time I used to go to Roslyn Academy and I do some loops there when I used to train somebody there, and do tempo runs is another way. Yeah. So 10Ks, that's how I do it. Yeah.
Now, have you ever been in a program?
No.
Never been in a program. Okay. Reasons and of course, I mean, like, you don't have to be in a program. We're not.
Yeah.
But is there something good in being in a program?
I think it does. There is a beauty in being in a program, because it gives you structure. It enables you to interact with other people. Probably in a program, you're also doing it with other people, so you're able to draw some things from the people you're training with. But for me, I stay in Limuru. I'm a bit away.
No, even you yourself, individual.
Individual.
Like, yeah, there doesn't need to be a group of individual yourself.
Yeah, right now I'm trying to incorporate that in the sense of I talk to many people who I can see in the running circles are doing quite well. So I ask them what they are doing. And then I incorporate what I don't have in my program to it. Because what I realized, I was doing more of middle distance runs. I would say 18 kilometers, 20 kilometers. That's how I usually run. And the terrain of Limuru, it has to be ups and downs. So in a way, you're training going up. You're also training going down. So now I started to incorporate now speed work and doing more longer runs now. And when it gets a bit more boring, I want to get more altitude. So I run all the way to either Sokomjinga. There, the altitude can get to, I don't know, 2,500 or 600. It's a bit higher from, yeah. So, and I drop down.
You were recently in Iten,
Yeah.
and you've been in Iten and you've seen what they do. Do you see a lot of benefit? Let's say if you're in Iten for a month or two, do you think that will affect you in how you perceive the under 3? And now, do you think 240 will be very much easily achievable if you're in Iten, let's say for a month or two? What do you think?
I would
Now, do you think now we will be talking podium status?
no. I wouldn't stretch it that much. But I would stretch it to the effect of I know I'll be confident enough to do a sub 3 without necessarily struggling too much. But in essence, a 42, there's some point you have to feel the 42. Yeah, but I'm not to struggle in the sense of struggling. So if I stay in Iten for a month or so, definitely, I'm in a different. For example, let's look in the data. I left when my VO2 was not to trust the gadgets too much.
I know. Just say.
But when I left Limuru, I was at 58. The VO2 max was saying 58. Staying there 3 days, it shot to 62. By the time I left, it was 63.
Amazing. And what do you attribute that to? More runs? What is Mujiza about it? Why? What do you attribute? And why do you say if you're in Iten for 2 months you're going to shatter your record? Why?
Because
Because of the name or
no, I don't see so much. The altitude difference, like from home to Iten, is like 200 meters above sea level. So I think it's more of the culture. In Iten, you'd go at 10 or at 12, you'll find somebody running. And there are a lot of people running, structured people in camps, people who are not in camps, people are just there to run. So you find that people are doing the AM PM program, whereby the morning they do morning run, and probably the evening one is usually an easy one.
Yes, why I'm saying that the reason why is because of a structure, not because of the name. The reason why is because there's hard run, there's recovery, there's physio,
Yes,
there's stretching, there's all those things incorporated for a 2-month program. Will make you a different person, right? Exactly. I mean, if you just remove everything you do in Iten and do it even in Mombasa, whatever, you'll still be faster because of the structure, right? And yes, we are not elites, we are not professionals, we are not chasing medals, but sometimes we want to be better. Yeah, and being better, there's some ways of getting better, and that's why I'm insisting on, on the focus or on the routine kind of setting of programs, as opposed to the
What I would
freestyle thing.
what I would say, probably what suits me a bit easier. Sometimes you have to find the balance. I found that the issue of mileage, I needed to increase. So that's the point. That's for me. That was the takeaway. And as you say, the program that you incorporate there, you learn there, you can do it anywhere. So once I figured out I need to increase the mileage, I figured out the smartest way to do it and what to improve on. That's it. Then you come back home. Efficiency of what you are lacking, you fine tune it. Yeah.
So no need of Iten.
Hmm?
No need of Iten.
Iten, you need to go at least sometimes to
He
integrate.
said that he was if he goes there for 2 months, he will improve. So that means if you remain in the Remuru, you will not improve.
No. I'm to say that if I go to Iten as well, it's a good different experience, you know. So sometimes you need to.
The culture there, as he says, the people, the structure, the program. So what you get from there, you implement it wherever you are. And of course, there are times you lax. Unarudi tena shule kiasi, unanyoroshwa viboko vitatu, ukirudi tena uko sawa. Man, with time, you just find some certain routine that fits you.
Yes.
And to share, regardless of wherever, we have Sifan Hassan in Netherlands, the lowest place below sea level, and she's crushing numbers there, right? So she has to do more, right? Than someone who's on high altitude. So if someone's altitude, she has to do maybe times 2, right? For her to have a chance of chasing our, let's say, Chebet.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
Because Chebet is younger, and she's our future of middle distance running. Au sio, mnamjua?
Yes. Major Chebet.
Yeah. Reuben, program, yes, no.
Okay, for me, as far as program is concerned, for me, I would go for the program, or what you call the plan. And before I even talk about myself and the plan or the program, I would first address maybe the viewers or those people who are listening to this. Sometimes we do running with a different view or with a different reason. So sometimes I may follow so and so on Strava just because he's doing this and this distance, and find that this one does not fit me, so no need of following or no need of checking. But the thing is, he has a different goal from you. Maybe for you is only for fitness. Yes. Some else for competition. Some else have his own reason or the reason why he's doing it. Yes. So what I would say is, whether you are following a program or you are not following a program, it depends with what are you after. Why did you start running? Why? That's the why thing is what is guiding you. So for me, that is, I say that when I was starting this interview, I said that I don't have a limit. I want to push and see the further I can go. And that's why now I'll go for a program so that I'll be able at least to see where it can take me and what I can achieve. And when I was talking about the childhood, that is when I was young and so on, there is something that was instilled in me by my dad. That is number one, discipline and being a daring guy. Number one, the discipline helps me to follow the programs or the plans that I have. So if you don't have the discipline and you don't, you will not be able to follow that plan or that program. So discipline is number one. As I already says that if you don't have discipline, you cannot achieve it. So discipline is first thing. So if you have a discipline, you can be able to follow that schedule, you can be able to follow that program, you can be able to follow that plan. Then I'm daring. I like daring myself. Can I do this? Can I not do this? If others are doing it, why can't I do it? So I have my own reasons, you have your own reasons, and that's why you do your own runs. So as we follow each other on Strava, it is encouragement. If so and so wakes up and runs this, why can't I wake up? So I wake up and run. Not just because I'm following his pace or her pace. I'm doing it on my own pace, but I'll do a run just because he's motivating me to do that run. So that is one thing that we should put across or should across in our mind. Why am I doing it? And then it should guide you further. The why thing should guide you further. Okay, for me, I try to make a schedule or a plan every weekly, depending with my work schedule, because I have a business schedule where I work from Monday, that is 6 days. In a week, I work for 6 days and I rest 1 day. And therefore, I try to plan parallel to my working schedule. So if I don't plan, I'll not be able to achieve these trainings because most of the time I'll spend at my workplace. So therefore, I sit down and come up with a plan where maybe on Monday is my is my day that I'm free. That is my 7th day when I'm free. So on on Monday morning, I'll do a long run. It can be 20 kilometer, 30 kilometer, or 35. That's the long run. Then if I'm able in the evening, I can do just easy one. If not, the following day I will do Tuesday. I will do a very slow, minimal, at a pace maybe very slow, so that I can be able to recover. Then the following day I will do a speed work, and then followed by an easy day where I will be able to recover. Then I will do a hill sprint the next day with an easy day or a rest day. Then I will do a hill walk. And my hill walk, I can do it with pulling a tire up and down, or I can just take a steep hill and challenge myself. And by this, I'm able to build up strength and that explosiveness power when I'm doing my runs. And I've done this in a test. And recently I did a sub 3, that is 2 hours 38 minutes in a marathon. And actually I can say that a plan helps because you can be able to plan what you are doing tomorrow. So even if you sleep today, you know what you are going to do tomorrow. So by the end of the week, you'll have your own target mileage. My target mileage is from 100 to 150 per week. And this helps me so much because when you are targeting a different race, for example, initially I was doing half marathon. My long run were 25 to 30. Now my plan is 42. So I have to increase my mileage so that I create a bigger endurance, so that I'll be able to have that gas to push me for a long distance without getting tired. And therefore, I have to increase my mileage per week. And that's why my mileage is going from 100 to 150. And bearing in mind that I want to measure or to do some ultra running after now Standard Chartered. I'm planning to do ultra 90 kilometer, and therefore for me to get this endurance, I want to incorporate the long runs to be more than 40 or 50 or 60, so that I have a longer endurance. So that's why I started by saying that your plans should suit whom you are and why you are doing it, and therefore it should not be parallel or similar to someone else, because everyone has a different goal.
Reuben, amazing. I don't know where to start, but I've crammed. You do your long runs, which are not slow.
Yes.
They're like tempo long runs on Monday. You have an easy run the following day, or in the evening you'll double up with a recovery run.
Yeah.
You could say maybe at 25 on Monday, then at 10 in the evening. And the next day you do an easy slow run. Yeah. It can be even a 15 or 15K, but very slow, right? Then on Wednesday, you're going to do your tempo, or your speed work, or your fartlek, depending, right? As I said, that's why the weeks interchange. So if you're doing fartlek today, next week you're going to do interval, or the other week, that was Wednesday. Then again, an easy run on Thursday. Then you're crushing the hills on Friday. Then you do your recovery or rest day. Then again, there's your Monday. Very easy. Anyone can get that, and the why, because there you have your hills, you have your speed, and you have your many easy runs, long runs, and you have the benefit of a rest day. Now, depending on how fast or your goals that you have for whatever particular race, then you can up the tempo a bit, maybe in terms of mileage or maybe in terms of speed. Maybe in terms of utajifinya your tempo run ya Monday, right? Depending. So you can be flexible with that. But again, you've said discipline is key, right? Without that focus, then where are you going? And if you want to do a 42 or a 21, and you don't have something written, then where then you're just going to run, right? But if you have things written, after every week you have the data. You're like, today I did this with this pace. Next week I did this with this pace. The other week I did, hii wiki mwili imekataa. Right? Wacha nizime kiasi. Nirudi sasa na ubaya. Uzuri ya kuzima unarudingi na ubaya. Nirudi tena na ubaya the other week. right? So you have the data and you can see your progress, right? And I like that, and I like that if anyone is, I mean, whatever level you are in, if you want to do a, like for example, let's say in my case, a sub 2.5, right, for us normal human beings, right? Then it is easier if you have even if it's an easy plan, but at least there's like something, right?
Yeah.
If you're planning.
Yeah.
And if you're not planning, the why. My plan is not to do a sub whatever. My plan is to be fit, is to have like more of a hybrid kind of a cycling, running, whatever. And so this running helps me in maybe the sport I'm doing, or this thing helps me. Still, there has to be some sort of structure, right? And finding that balance is very hard. But I like what I'm hearing. I like what you say. And hapa tumesikia hapa kwa watu watatu, Standard Chat kuna moto inaenda kwaka, right? Standard Chartered tune in. We have the Inkalimeva, we have the guy from Kabuku and Muranga. So who do you think, right? Who do you think is going to do his personal PB during Standard Chat? Is it the guy from Muranga? Does he even have a leeway of breaking his PB? Right? His PB is a bit too high.
Yeah.
Labda ilikuwa beginner's luck. Beginner's luck. Right? If you haven't run for a long while, the first day you're running very fast. Right? We'll have to see that. We have a guy here, Mr. Comrade himself. Standard Chat Marathon atapunguza afike sisem. Right? This other tire is a bit too common. Right? Labda atarudi hizi tuta round off. So unajua ukiround off ni 3. Unafaa kuround off ikuwe 250. So your round off itakuwa wapi? Itakuwa 252, 254 ama itakuwa 246? Because if you round off to 46 is at 250. So there's that place. But we don't want to round off ikuwe 3, sivyo? Then we have Inkalimeva, the poet, we've said poets, we've said artist, we've said philosopher, right, who's been running all through, right? Tunataka kuona kitu, and we know this guy can surprise us, and that is Standard Chat. Now, we've talked about our programs, we've talked about our running, we've talked about our mileages. Sasa, tukianza na wewe Reuben, right? Hii kitu inaitwanga diet, yenye inaogoposhanga watu sana. What's your take on that? Diet for performance or diet for regular life? What's your view on that?
Okay, on my side, I can say that diet really matters. And when I say that diet really matters, it is because I've experimented it myself. And I noticed there is a bit difference if you don't check on your diet. That is, if you are going to push further to your limits, or you are going to push hard, there's what you need to take you that further. If you don't check on that, you either hit the wall, or you either not achieve what you want just because you don't have the energy. So where do you get this energy from? From the food that you eat. Okay, there's those people who goes for other supplementation. There are those who go for the natural way. For me, I like natural way. And for the natural ways, I go for the natural foods, like cassavas and the rest. And prior to my race or before my race, if I'm going to do a long run, I make sure that maybe 3 days to race, I'm just carb loading. And my carb loading is for the natural foods. And I do hydration. This is why I take a lot of water. And I like using the pink salt as my electrolyte. I don't take other gels or so on. I'm used to taking the pink salt. That is normal water and the pink salt. I like using that one for the ions. Like previously, the 2:38 marathon that I did it without support, without any drink or without any water station or anything. I just went and ran.
It's a normal training day.
Yeah, just because I prepare before I do that. Before I go, that's why we talked about the program and the plan. Before I go for that day, I've already prepared for that day.
Yes.
So when that day comes, my nutrition is good, is in order, because I like checking. because in my house I'll never lack honey, I'll never lack lemon, and I'll never lack pink salt, because I like making my own energy drink where I mix honey, I mix pink salt, and sometimes I use tea leaves. I mix all of them and the lemon. And that one is a very good electrolyte and energy drink when I'm going for a long run.
Don't want 50-gram caffeine
Yeah.
gel.
Yeah, that's okay. I borrowed this idea from a guy in Qatar, and he was using green tea, but here I just use normal tea, and I saw it working. It worked for me 90-kilometer ultra, and now here in Kenya I have seen it working for me when I'm going for the long runs. So nutrition matters very fast. Matters more in everything that you does. Then something else, you should never avoid the fruits. For me, I like taking bananas before I run. And every day when I'm going to a run or when I'm going for a competition, 3 hours before the race, I like eating bread, taking tea, and eating maybe 3 bananas. And from there, I'm good to go. And I cannot go to any race without taking tea. That is me. So for me, nutritional, I just,
Someone else with the coffee.
yeah. So for me, nutrition is very important. And every day in my life, I do make sure that I take what is needed for the next day. That's why I have a plan. That's why I have a program. If tomorrow I'm going for a speed walk, that night before that
You need fuel
race,
for
I have to fuel for that. Sometimes I go dry, like sometimes in the morning I would wake up and take only tea, and then because I want to exhaust the energy that I have, and I see how far my body can push me without taking something, so that my body will adapt during the race. If I'll take something, so
It's an
my body
additional-
it
it's
will
a
have an
bonus.
additional, a bonus energy during the run, and that's why I check so much on my nutrition, because I think it's help.
Yeah.
I've tested it and I've seen it. There are some days that I just go running dry and I feel that I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't have the energy. But the other days when I prepare well, I feel that I have energy, and I can go far, I can push far.
Pink souls, they say it's called Himalayas. So,
Yeah, that's
so amazing, and that's your form of gel or electrolytes. So
Electrolyte.
people can actually go natural with these things and save some money. I like that. So you've talked of bananas, you've talked of how you fuel, and what's your take on the sodas and sugars and stuff?
Okay, for me, I say
Because
that,
you runners, you take a lot of soda.
yeah. Okay, they do take, but
Yeah.
for me, I don't take.
Yeah.
Okay, my take is, if something works for you, use it or go for it, because what works
Poison
for you.
works for you, you go for it.
Okay,
Poison.
what happens? Okay, I will not advise poison, because everyone will go for something that will work as per the race or as per the discipline that is working or she's working for. So I believe if soda works for you, you can go for it. But does it have more advantage or disadvantage? Sometimes you should also check on the health wise. These electrolytes and these gels we take, they are made of chemicals or components that are mixed together to give us that. But can they sustain you forever?
Long term.
Or the long term and the long term effects? At least you should be checking on that, not only using just because you have a short term goal. You may be going for a short term goal, but in long,
The long run it affects.
yeah, in the long run it will affect you. So there's no need. If you can be able to go natural, and you can achieve it. You have fruits, eat fruits, take fruits, take natural foods, and all will be well. For me, for those chemicals, okay, I call them chemicals. I don't really advise for that. For me, I say that stay natural if you can.
From the horse's mouth himself, Reuben, we've had his nuggets, right? Unaweza chukua yenye unachukua na unaweza minus kenye una minus, but what you're saying has a lot of sense. Now we can go to Sydney. What's your take on that? Do you diet? What's your fuel for performance? Are you conscious? What do you do?
I would say until recently, and I trained with somebody in Kapenguria, and I realized sometimes it's good to train dry. I mean, in the long runs, yeah, but not so much anyway, depends on how you would take it, in such a way that when it comes to races and you now inject those, yes, it's a bonus to your body. But of course, also prior to the race, as it builds up, you have to train how to you when to take them and stuff. So for me, I would say I mostly run dry. I just take a few sips of water, then I go. And then when I come back, that's when I take breakfast. But on rest day, I discovered what works for me is 3 slices of bread. I don't like to overeat, and coffee. At least coffee, I feel like it awakens me, and also it helps you to go and flush out things before the race. It has that trick I discovered.
Sidney flashes 3 times in the morning, guys. 3 times in Inkalimeva. This guy flashes 3 times
No, 3 times is
on
recommended.
average.
When you do 3 times, then you are
You're
sure
super
that
Good to go.
you're sure that at the run you will
You're
not have
okay.
any stomach.
No,
issues.
no, any.
Actually, yeah.
Wow, yeah, I see that. I see that a lot. He does that a lot.
Yeah. So at least I'm going into the race. If this is a race scenario, at least with some energy, but not something that is boiling up in your gut. Yes. Um, I did some experimenting with gels and I discovered which ones works for me, which one don't work for me. Uh, I think that the one with strawberry works and banana. Those two work. The others, I feel like I don't get stomach upset, but the taste doesn't go well. The mental also exactly. So I try to stick to those. So I would say usually I found that the number is 3. I think for me 3 gels work. Beyond that is just too much.
Let's put it into context. 3 gels in a marathon or half?
No marathon.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Mkubwa.
Okay, for me, and now that you mentioned about the gels, I think for the longest time I tried to avoid the gels.
Yes.
Yes, okay, for no particular reason anyway. But like Reuben here was saying, I was just trying to be just trying the natural kind of foods and all that.
Yes.
But I've also been experimenting once in a while with the gels and all that. Like currently, I've tried to bring in the gels, especially for that. Because I realized that at a certain point, you really run out of that energy, especially during a marathon, and it kind of slows you down and your timing and all that. But so far, I think the most I've used in a marathon is a gel, is one gel for me. I mean, yeah, that's the much I've used. I think maybe so far, maybe 2 or 3 marathons. So probably I try to avoid it for a long time, but I think it might be a devil that because that you cannot fully, because at that at the marathon point, taking solid food might not be during the run. So at least these gels, that quick injection kind of, and of course also I liked something you talked about, the electrolytes.
Yes.
You look for, you can experiment and find out what works for you, that because there are quite a number of them. So and then there's for now, for the normal fueling now, the day-to-day kind of fueling. I've also been experimenting with that. Okay, for me, I just eat normally. I would use that word, and I'm also more skewed towards just the natural foods that we have around. Of course, once in a while you reward yourself with a pizza. With a pizza, yeah. There are runs you finish and you are. Of course, I know it's not the best gospel to put out there, but again, it's what I know. I've seen
mental space, mental health,
and it's experimental, all these things. Because I've also seen some of the ultra runners in the world. Someone giving their story, and they will tell you, we all started. This person was junk food and all that, but along the way they kind of they found another route. And one thing I noticed is that most of these ultra runners, it's something I'm still looking at and trying to find out what really is it behind it, because diet right now is quite a big it's a big conversation in the running, the endurance, especially the endurance actually. All these are runners, and I saw that a good number of them actually are kind of plant-based kind of diets and all that. So I'm still I'm still doing my small research just to find out because I've also tried to look at like I was talking with Clement, your friend at the Gasman, during one of the runs we were doing, and he was trying. I mean, we were just sharing on diet and all that, and he was kind of educating me on some of these plant-based kind of diet and all that.
Is he on plant-based himself?
He mentioned he's pushing towards that. So, and I've also done my small research on some of these ultra runners.
Yeah.
A good number of them actually are on plant-based kind of diets and all that. But
so all the rich rolls.
Yeah, the likes of Rituals, Louis Harvey, and most of those guys. And but you also need to know what varieties are available for you, based on because these guys are on a different different
you have to make it home-based, and you have to plan for it, because you just wake up one day and you switch, and you're looking, there's no ndoma next to you.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no
and you also have to see, like, is it giving you all the nutrients that you need, the energy that you need in your body? And I mean, some of us are still in love with our meat, our barbecue, and all that. So it's a balance, and I feel like there's no real and exact position around it. It's more of, you still have to do your research.
And basically, what you guys are saying, you have to be conscious on what you're taking during a race, before, and for the long term. I liked what he says, for the long term. And again, homework iko nini for the religious guys. Watu wa Yesu sema, Yesu usually tells people, pick up your mats and follow me, meaning just go. If it's if you found that this is the way, why are you wasting time? Then make that radical move, right? So that's about nutrition. We've talked about our running. We've talked. Now let's go to gadgets and shoes as we wind up. All right. Now we'll start with you. This whole idea of barefoot running. How does it help health-wise or in the long run? This whole idea, people have the critiques about all this technology coming into shoes and stuff. So mambo ya viatu. Tell us about your whole we see it, the barefoot running that you do.
I've really done much. At the start of this year, I did I think a 10K. Okay, it's I do a bit of walking. The walking barefoot.
Yes.
Is what I do more.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
Maybe you caused the scar.
Mwakenya hiyo.
So and again, most of these things are just out there. People are doing them. Like the minimalist kind of running.
Yes.
I've seen people run. Like the barefoot thing. That one, I think I picked it from. Wike has been doing it quite much.
Yes.
The sandals running. So, and basically, there's the whole issue of the being in contact with nature and the earth and all that.
Yes.
So the main benefit of because basically the way we live, even our houses, you can see these carpets. We are not in contact with most of the time. The environment. It's been created in a way that we are not in contact with nature. So for me, it's like every time you get a chance to get in contact with nature, and our ancestors walked around barefooted most of the time. Those of us who grew up in the village, we saw people walking barefoot and all that, and there's a whole benefit to that. Which of course,
in the long run.
It's a topic for another day. So for me, is that whenever you get a chance, you can.
Right, if I may add, the little I know about barefoot, there's this thing they say your feet are supposed to be like your hands, right? Our feet are like this, right? And it affects our posture because when we walk, when we stand, we limit the grounding, right? I don't know if you guys are following me. So sometimes you have the barefoot guys will put things here in between. I mean, it's a very ugly, it's not a very pretty sight, seeing people's feet like this. It's not very pretty, but wajua saa zingine unasema arusha urembo, maisha njoo. So they say when your feet are like this, you'll have proper posture, your spine and everything, because you'll have more, right, balance. And now, because of our shoes and the whole technology, we find our feet are like this, and we're trying to evolve while walking this way. And right, I'll give you an example, like spending your whole life walking on high heels, right? Not a very interesting thing. So the flatter we get, the more comfortable, relaxed, natural we feel. This is other than the nature part of it. Just talking about this barefoot nods, right? So alafu waona wako hivi. And again, this is also many ultra runners. I find ultra runners also minimalistic. And you find them picking on, they even barefoot shoes, right? That are wider at the edge. And I said very ugly shoes, right? So hiyo tu ni kitu nyingine I just wanted to add, throw that into the conversation about barefoot and so what they say how our feet are supposed to be like, right? For the long run. So we'll talk about shoes now. I want Sydney to, if you have any comments in regards to talk about gadgets and running free, right? Just your take on gadgets and running free, because I find that we are a society that, right, is gadgets all through, and sometimes this may affect the beginners who are joining running, because they have to get all these Garmin watches that are very pricey, na hata wakizipata wajui venye kuzitumia. You know, the Garmin, you can put an interval setting in your Garmin watch. Just realized the other time. So there's so many things before unaingia. You have to have your watch in place. Your watch will tell you about your heartbeat, your everything, and all those things, and very expensive. Strava, again, kupostuko Strava, pesi pal. You always look at your pace, right, every day. And I would say, if you're looking at all those things every day, then why are you not in a program? If you're so addicted with Strava, right, and your paces and your heart rates and your stuff, then what is that for if you're not doing it, if you're not in a program? If you're not in a program, then throw it away. I mean, that's just another thing. So what's your comment on gadgets? Yeah, in that regard. Because you're the IT guy, you're the data guy.
I think this whole thing is a bit subjective, just like our personalities are subjective. So somebody would look at that data of today Inkalimeva did this, today Reuben did this, and to them they would see that as pressure and deduce, oh, what do I need to do here? But for somebody else, would look at it and say, okay, this guy is doing this and he's improving on this area and this area. I can see the results. Probably what I can deduce from this data is maybe I need to do certain things like him to a certain level of my ability and improve. So that data helps you because through that data I could see, like, just to name numbers, and of course there is hard work and talent, but you can see, let's say Trafford is doing over 120 per week. When it comes to race day, over and above, let's say, talent and hard work, you can understand probably why he would perform that way. But without that data, you wouldn't know. So it depends.
100%.
Yeah. So it depends how you view it. And now this is a bit subjective. For me, even before I used to have just I saved and got a polar watch, which would help me to just to pace, and I could see the distance. But now, because I did marathons later, I started with ultras, and with them they would have Garmin watches or watches which would load maps, and sometimes they would leave me behind. You have to stick. You're lost. You need to stick with somebody who is with your pace. So my motivation to save up and buy a watch which could load a map, that for me was the reason. To somebody else, he would have a reason. Maybe they want to save intervals, or they want to. It depends. To answer that question, I think subjectively.
Amazing. I mean, technology for your benefit and I mean, there's pros and cons. Na umesema uanzangi na BMW, sivyo? Unaanzanga, it's called a mustard seed. Unaanzanga small, right? You start small so that now you know what a four-wheel drive is. Ukianza four-wheel drive always jua the need of a foil. You will not know why. But ukianza na hiyo Mini Cooper, alafu inge kwa four-wheel, alafu uende kwa hizo Ngong Hills, then you'll understand, okay, now I start enjoying this car, right? And this is why I need this car. Otherwise, you'll be using this car in traffic.
But also in that same point, some scripts cannot always. There are exceptions sometimes to the rule. There are some people who have rushed into races and they realize I'm this fast, and some others who started to build up. The same way, there's somebody who would, since maybe they have the resources, they would just buy the watch at once. So there are many variables.
You believe that people who are thrown into races and they just perform? No, I'm just saying. No, yeah, okay, talented people.
I think, of course,
A 42 that they're just thrown there and they just do a sub 3.
Somebody told us he did a 251 and he felt disappointed. I mean, you don't need to go further.
With just few runs.
Yes, just few runs. He
Just
did a
few runs.
251 and he was disappointed. Yeah.
Back to you. Now we've talked about gadgets. Strava. Utatuambia nini kuhusu Strava? Kuna watu post. Mimi nilisema wewe I see one of your posts, but you've explained. The people who have pressure with Strava, like how you love pressure with social media. And I find Strava is also some form of social media. And people live in Strava. They're just the whole day wanaangalia tu Strava. Wana scroll. Na washaona, ishafika lunchtime tena. Wana load. Labda sija load vizuri. Load again. And now it has become our new Facebook for runners. And we spend so much time in Strava and just looking at it. And that is one angle of social. Then another angle is some people like social media. Unapost uko picha fulani, unapost utaona comments hapo pa. Unafikiri hatujaienda huko nini. Ushaiona like venye watu wanatokanga Facebook. Wengine wanatoka Instagram because of comments and views and perceptions people have. Same thing as Strava. You've been posting and all of a sudden just feel like, man, there's too much noise there. What's your take on Strava and all that I've said in your perspective? And others, it's also data, because I don't want to be that my data is money.
Okay, if I talk about technology, one thing I would say that it is a game changer, just because it have changed everything from right from the beginning. Okay, I'll just give a simpler explanation or the incidents of me. 2019, when I started running, I was running like just a blind person. I would just wake up and go and do my own running. Until I mixed with other runners, I knew that there is some distances to be covered. There are some pace. There are things I didn't understand them, but I needed to know of this at this race or in this race, how many minutes have I done with it, and it took me back to analog. I remember I bought my first watch in a supermarket, that is Carrefour, in Qatar, and it was an analog, the one kids use in school. But for me, I just the analog one.
you have.
Yeah, you work with okay, actually you go for what you can afford and what you have. My main thing was I want to have data of how many okay, I didn't care because the distance I was measuring in a pole, I would say that from here to that plot I estimate it is might be maybe 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. Then I would say that okay, I'm doing it with this minute. Now it is 12:30, so before it is 12:35, let me I have to minus and know that I have done it with this minutes. So I did with that watch in several races, and I could defeat guys with the Garmin and the rest. I didn't know even my pace. I came to realize and to know about my pace in 2021. That's when I started knowing about the pace and the elevation and everything and heart rate. And it was a game changer because now I could be able to monitor my heart rate. I could be able to know the distance I've done. I could be able to know my pace. I could even pre-plan my run. I would say that if I'm competing for 10 kilometers, I'll start with this pace, then I will have this pace, then I'll finish with this pace. So I could be able easily to plan my race. And that's why I say that it's a game changer. But it depends with who you are and why are you doing it and your target. Why do I say this? For example, if you are going, you are doing it for competition, you have to have this gadget because you have to know your time, you have to know your pace and everything. If I'm doing it for my health benefits on something else, maybe I only need to know the distance, or maybe I only need to know time. If I start at 11, I want only to go for 20 minutes walk, then I come back. Stopwatch is okay. Even a normal watch is okay. But now it depends with why are you doing it or your intentions. Because if you want to take it overboard, now you have to take a step further. For instance, if you are doing it for competition, there are so many things that you need to understand or you need to pre-plan before your race. Therefore, you need something which can help you to pre-plan and plan for that. If you are doing it for your fitness, you know that I need to know my steps. So you have to get something which can calculate steps, if it is distance or if it is time. So just go for what suits you or
And
what
data is
suits.
important.
Yeah, and data is important because
It's a game changer, as you say.
yeah, everything that you are doing, you need the data. Whether you use the analog watch or you use the Garmin or the rest.
This one makes it easy. Digital just makes it a bit easier. And analog makes you more of a mathematician as well.
Yeah.
So else-
By the end of the day,
Yes.
you all get data,
Yes,
which
you all
is
get
important.
data. Yes,
Whether
yeah.
it's the mileage, whether it's
Yes.
steps, whether
Yes.
it's the time,
Yeah.
you all get the similar thing. But now it depends with your intentions
Yeah.
or where you're heading to. Let's not talk about the technology also, even the shoe.
Yes.
You can say that even the shoes, they are game changer because initially we used to, I'll go back to my own case. 2019, what I was using, I cannot use it today. Reason being, I've learned so much in running as I progress. Why? Initially, I could just wear in a shoe and run. But now I understand I need to have to prevent my legs or prevent myself from injuries. I need to have a good shoes so that I can have a good pace. So there's so many things that you need to understand so that they can fit to what you want. So what is important here is, what do you want? Okay, you are doing fitness and you want to use this kind of shoe. Maybe for you, you are going for cushioning. Someone else is going for a lighter shoe. Someone is going for a shoe that he can feel the ground, the one without the what you call the heels and the rest. So the shoes, they have they have different purposes, and also there are those nowadays we have the competition shoe or the racers, the ones with the carbon. Why? Because we talk about the propulsion, when you talk about lighter weight, breathability. This one we are doing, okay, people are going for those shoes because they have different goal and objective. Why? Time, and they want performance. For someone else, will not go for the time and performance. They are just doing it for leisure. So they might forego for cushioning. So though all those shoes, they have different ranges of prices. That's why I say that depending with your intentions or your objectives or goals and the reason why, you go for what suits you. Don't follow others, just go for what you know that this is the right thing for you, and don't copy anyone. Whatever works for me is not what works for you.
I feel like you have a whole dictionary of knowledge, huh? And this you've done by practice and by what you've gone through, and you've learned. And I see there's a lot of data that you have, right? Because hey, you said propulsion, breathability, and what? Life. It's so easy, it's so casual in your talking because they're just here. Yeah, amazing. So, parting shots as we end this, I'll just say, okay, name as a parting shot. I would say, what would you tell upcoming runners? But this has to be very brief. What can you say people who want to enter, if it's ultra or what you call sky running? What would you tell them? If it's for comrades, would you advise people to go for comrades? You're having this Dubai run or any run, just a one line or two liners. What can you tell people who are seeing you and maybe wanaona hii ni yenyu? Unaweza waambiaje? Tukianza na professor. I'm saying professor because it's how they look.
Yeah, I think for me, and just maybe to mention, I said just to let them know. Yeah, because if I look just slightly
Yes.
back, when this running, like when myself I got into running, and when this mentioned ultra running, when ultra running came around, it was just not long ago, and it was looked at as a reserve for very few people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But today, when you look at what people are doing, I mean, it's like everyone is right there. So for me, anyone who is trying out running, and maybe you're getting started, maybe you are there and you fell back a bit or something, I'll say, I mean, it's for everyone. And there's a statement they say that the best things in life are free. I know we've talked of running being a costly affair, but the running itself, I mean, let's not look at the gadgets, I mean, the shoes and all that. That will find its way to your place in whichever means. But the running itself, it's a main thing anyway.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that we can say it's free. In that, like when I go to the village, sometimes nowadays when I go to the village, I run there. Earlier I was afraid of running because no one is running there. So I was joking the other day that I feel like a last born of the village because you have all this space to run by yourself. You see, so I would encourage anyone who like just keep running, keep running. Some of us just started running and we really didn't even have any targets and all that. But today we have all this. We are doing all these
amazing things.
and they still, like Reuben said, it's limitless what can happen.
Yes.
So I would that would be my encouragement. Just keep on running, and it doesn't matter how fast, how long, just run.
Just run.
Yeah.
Buko.
Yes. For me, I would use an artistic approach because I'm also an artist, and this free spirit way. There's a line Bruce Lee says, "Be formless like water." Water takes the shape of any vessel it is put in. So I wouldn't be here if I wasn't formless to accept the challenge of you telling me to move from football to go to join the UN running team. I wouldn't be here if I didn't accept Freeman, what he was telling me or encouraging me. So in terms of running, be free. I will use that notion. Be free. Yeah.
I'm saying kukana watu it rubs off. I was saying to Reuben.
So for me, it's just a simple parting shot. And anybody who is out there and want to do something or want to start running, be it for the lifestyle, be it to lose weight or just for fun or anything else, running is a game. And why do I say that it is a game? It is a game because it's where you meet friends. It's where you meet people with the same mind. It's where you meet people with connections. And running can take you far. And running can help you release the stress you have in the mind. Actually, I say that when I want to free my mind, I just get out of house and run. When I come back, I am free. So it's a way of freeing yourself from all the things in your mind. And if you can accept running and maybe joining the clubs which are there, there's so many clubs. There, Team Joshua, there is all these clubs. That's where you can meet people, like-minded people, the people who can guide you. Instead of just sitting there and talking, chit-chatting with your friends, running will help you with one. It will be a lifestyle. It can help you achieve other goals, and it's where you can meet. As I started earlier, I started running to get friends or for the company. And that thing, even today, I'm creating what you call a mizizi. I'm having friends here and there, and just because of running. So we limit ourselves, but we can do further, or we can go further than what we believe. So what we do is, from today, stop limiting yourself with excuses. You can do it, and you can do it. Just make a decision and have consistency, and you'll do it, and you'll see the fruits of it.
Amazing, amazing. I cannot add anything on top of what they've said. Formulas like water. So just run and running. That's why we call it recreational, right? I am because we are because I am. Running makes you meet people, makes you imekupeleka Qatar, imekupatia kazi Decathlon, and progressively even after retirement, right? Right, there's a lot you can learn. So ya mwisho, top 3 greatest of all time, starting from you, Sidney. Your top 3 greatest runners of all time.
That's a tough one.
Jeff Kilego.
Yeah, but okay, but let me just go with I would give props to Rudisha because of the 800 meters. I think he did a quite
Well, let's start with guys, then we'll say top 3 women.
okay.
Yeah, so top 3 guys.
Okay.
Rudisha, yes.
Rudisha, Kanisa Bekele, Eliud Kipchoge.
Si lazima useme Kipchoge because you're forced to.
No, I mean like.
Okay. Yes. Prof.
Okay, mine. I go for people who I kind of.
There's a lady there. That's the greatest of all time ultra. Both male and female.
For people who I feel like they're running. I've kind of. Even if we've not run together,
Yes.
they impacted me in one way or the other. And I think I'll name 5, but
Okay, name 5. Yes.
yeah, irrespective of gender.
Or irrespective of gender.
Yeah, so for me, I think I can start with David Goggins. This is a guy who, he was the first guy who I followed his story and kind of I felt connection and all that from what running has done to his life and
Yes.
from the exploits that he does. So there was a real connection for me. Then there's Cotton, the water, the ultra legend. I think the way she runs, sometimes
Easy.
yeah, it feels like I'm there running the same rate. So I can with that connection. Then there's Avi Lewis, also a natural runner. Then there's a guy called Charlie Ingo. Charlie Ingo, the reason is that his story kind of resonates with. I resonate with his story, why he got into running, and it's a story which I feel like I connect to. Then I'll give it for when we come local. Home. I'll give a lead because of what he's done. I mean, when you look at his running career, it's been kind of phenomenal. Been there for long, and he still has not bowed out. So yeah, I could go on and on, but
Yes. Sidney, you said Bekele,
Yes,
not Gabriel Selassie.
not Gabriel Selassie.
Okay, so Bekele over Gabriel Selassie for you.
He would come forth.
Hmm?
He would come forth.
Gabriel Selassie will
Yeah,
come forth.
yeah.
Okay. Good. Reuben.
Okay, for me, I will just mention those people whom I look after. And I'm sorry to say, because I look after all, but there are those specific whom at least I would like to achieve what they have achieved, or they motivate me to keep going. In the field of ultra, I have Sorokin, who has 7 world records. That is 24-hour run, road, and the feet track, 12-hour, 6-hour, and so on. And I feel so much whenever, because I follow him in every time in his workouts and everything, and I feel he's a great motivator, because I would also love to achieve or come near to what he has done in the world of ultra. Then when I come back to Kenya, there is Eliud, and Eliud, I have been following his training programs in Nike, and what he has been doing in Captagate, and his programs, weekly programs. And I like watching and listening to him. And when he did Ineos, that time it is when I was in my running. That's when I started thinking, now I can do it. And he really motivated me. And the funniest thing was when he did Ineos, I was in Qatar, and every Qatari people, we are talking about Kenya, Kenya, Kenya. Every black man they saw, it was Eliud. They knew Kipchoge. Just because if he see you a black, they see you Kenyan, Kenyan. And I felt very great when he did that, and I felt motivated. From there, I have 2 other guys who are Egyptians. I have Nasrin, and Nasrin, because I know I'll make sure that this one reaches you. You really motivated me, and I admire what you are doing in ultras. And Zayatun, watching you two motivate me too much, and I always want to conquer what you have done. So I'm going to undo what you have done already. So get ready in ultras. So Moshin, I'm coming for the marathons, and I know this will be good. You motivate me so much, and those are the guys I look after. And there is one lady who's called Winfred Yavi. She's an army, and she's in Bahrain, but she's a Kenyan. She really motivates me with what she does, and I like it because of hard work. That's why she's there. And lastly of all, there is a guy called Islam Alam, and this guy, respect to you, Islam. You have guided me in everything in running. He's a coach and a triathlete, and respect to you. That's all.
For me, my top 3 of all time, it's very simple. Very, very simple. I mean, these are people who've done it all. And regardless of anything, number 1, we have Inkalimeva. Number 2, we have Sidney. And number 3, we have Reuben. So those are my top 3 greatest of all time. And that is why we spent almost 3 hours in this podcast. Asante sana, TZ Calisthenics. Thank you guys for being here all this time and sacrificing your time. I really, really appreciate. And hopefully we'll make something out of it, both individually and collectively and beyond, right? And that's the whole goal. So asanteni sana for the sacrifice. Hopefully it will not go wasted. Thank you. Na baadaye labda tutapatana vichakani. Labda hapa bado tena mkishavunja vitu. So stand chat. Moto inawaka hapo.
Kabisa.
Sawa, thanks. Sawa.
Mapime mimi sijasema Sifan Hassan.
Nini?